Hello, assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the Mindful Muslimah Speaks podcast. And at that, I will say, while many people have begun to watch me on YouTube, they're not aware that we have an entire podcast with 7 million followers on Spotify, Apple. Catch us there. Mindful Muslimah Speaks. Don't forget to subscribe there so you could listen to so much more stuff on the go. And let's get to the video. Welcome to the Mindful Muslimah Speaks podcast, a safe space to learn and grow into the best version of yourself that you're always meant to be. I'm your host, Mindful Muslimah, a mom of 5, big sister to the community, and a licensed educator with 25 plus years and supporting tens of thousands of Muslim women worldwide. Now, I'm excited to share a ton of solutions to your problems on love, relationships, life balance, reconnecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, getting back on track, and more. So grab a cup of coffee and close out those tabs. These next 20 to 30 minutes are all about you. Let's get started. So today, let's get right into the topic. And I'm going to start with a personal story of an emotional maturity wake-up call. Now, I get to sit in this beautiful position where I get to hear stories from tons of women all over the world. And what you guys might not get to hear are what they tell me. So I'm going to tell you 2 or 3 today. So I'm just going to start with a couple of small stories. They're going to help you with this. And I want you to know I'm not going to use names for obvious reasons. So they're just private stories, but they are the stories of our sisters. And first of all, last month when I was in coaching, there was a sister who was heartbroken because her husband of 2 years couldn't handle any serious conversations. He would shut down, or he would make jokes, he would just get angry. And you know, when I'm talking to her, she's looking at me with tears and she's like, sis, I feel like I married a 30-year-old teenager. I can't be his mother and his wife. And I'm going to tell you right here, if that sounds really familiar to you, that type of a conversation, that what you're going through or you've seen people in your family go through, those marriages have a really high chance of divorce because you cannot easily teach emotional maturity. Now there's a hook, and I've taught it before in another podcast, where you can use growth mindset to maybe help out there if he has growth mindset. But the truth is, emotional maturity, it's not for you to teach, and it's very hard to teach. So if you didn't vet that before, but we could talk. Obviously, before we give up on any marriage, you have to go to a sheikh, you have to make sure it works out. But if you want a sister, I'm here. Another situation of another sister, she just called me up, she did a consultation called Crying, was that she discovered her husband was lying to her about his prayer habits, like throughout their entire courtship. So she thinks she's there and she's talking to this guy for potential for marriage. And, you know, he's an active Muslim. He's actually praying and doing his part. But then she marries him, right? And in 2 years of marriage, he never woke up for Fajr once. And, you know, through tears, she's telling me, if he could lie about something so sacred, what else could he be hiding from me? Now, character isn't something you discover after marriage, guys. It's something you must vet before. That could have been prevented. And the last one I'll share is a sister who just blatantly ignored red flags. She even admitted it to me after we got into the conversation. But she called me crying, talking about divorce. I get the calls for women looking for marriage and women wanting divorce. My mission is to help our ummah stay married. Get married to good men from the beginning because we did it right, and stay married. We're almost infringing upon a 50% divorce rate. It is a scary time. So the reason we make these videos and we have this podcast and we do all this talk is because we are trying to save families. Many of you come from broken homes or maybe what you want to call dysfunctional families, and you know how it feels. Let's change that for the next generation together. So the last sister, she called me crying about divorce. She had actually gotten divorced by that time when she called me. So she's divorced, right? She calls me up. He showed me exactly who he was during courtship, she said, and I ignored it. He got angry with me when I talked to him about finances before we were even married. But I thought, like, marriage is going to change him. I'm going to love him. You know, he had a hard childhood. And she's like, I spent 3 years walking on eggshells, trying to avoid his trigger and his anger and everything. And I finally realized I'm living in fear of my own husband. The man who cannot handle your questions before marriage, ladies, will try to silence your voice after marriage or not be interested in conversing. I don't know why we think there's going to be a difference. So each of these sisters I told you about, they hit the emotional core. This could be me if I'm not careful. If you're single right now, I hope you were hearing that. This could be me if I'm not careful. These women never married these men thinking it was going to go unwell. I promise you that. So let's learn from each other's stories and have better marriages. Now, he has to have emotional maturity. I was going to tell you what that was. Let's do it. Number 1, he has to have self-awareness. He has to know his own triggers, his own emotion, his own way of dealing with things. Some level of self-awareness is really important for him to be able to do all the other things. Number 2, he has to have self-regulation. Yes, he needs to be able to somehow regulate his emotions instead of being completely controlled by them. Otherwise, when he's in situations with you, he's not gonna be able to control his emotions. Next, accountability. This is a hard one. I'm not gonna lie. Most of the time when women call me and they want divorce and they've been trying forever to get their husband to do something or feel something or see something, the reason is there's a lack of accountability. There's nothing to motivate him to do it, to listen to you, to make a change, because it's just you and him having the conversation. That's why in the time of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there was always a third party. Right? Some of the more tribal Islamic cultures right now, they still do it, right? You meet with an elder or somebody else, and we sit down. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he did the same. But what happens is, if you're not going to go to therapy and stuff like that, or you're not going to go to an outside person or a sheikh, he doesn't want to go to sheikh and whatever, you need an outside person, you need accountability. So let's pretend there's going to be no problem in your marriage. You're just trying to vet this guy. Does he have accountability? Does he own his mistakes, or is he mostly blaming others and playing victim? That's what you can listen for inside of sit-downs. Next, empathy. Can he validate your feelings? When you hear him talking in stories, in questions, when he sees you going through something, is he leaning in and noticing, or is he just like totally missing all the signals from you? And in other stories that he's telling you with other people, it's really clear he's not empathizing much with them. It's more all about him. Get me? Next, communication. Can he express his emotions, feelings, thoughts, opinions without shutting down, getting agitated and angry, or just ghosting, being quiet? If he can't do that, he's lacking emotional maturity, and that's obviously a problem. But if he can, that's great. If you want to know more about how to do that in detail, obviously can't go into all that right now, but I do that. That's what we do in our entire coaching program. More than happy to check. There's a link below for a free 20-minute call to see if you qualify. Next, growth mindset. This one I love. If he can have growth mindset at a certain level, sometimes, depends, we'd have to talk, it can be okay for emotional maturity. A lot of times women will call me up, they'll make like a 30-minute consult, 1-hour consult, and they want to talk about somebody they're about to marry. They have thoughts about these things they're seeing. I'm feeling uncomfortable about these things before I like pull the trigger and I go forward. What are your thoughts? I just want an outside opinion on this guy. He said this, he did this. That's brilliant. I love a woman, like girl after my own heart, who's trying to really make sure she feels comfortable before she goes forward. You do not have to marry anyone you do not feel comfortable about, nor should you, right? That's just a human right. That goes for men too. Okay? So let's talk about the cost of emotional maturity. Disagreements, constant in marriages. Every day is like a battle. You become his emotional caretaker as opposed to his beautiful wife partner, right? So we don't want this. Let's make sure we nail this, ladies. He has emotional maturity, right? Intimacy will die because there's no vulnerability. You guys are backing up to two corners of the house on total opposite sides. The connection is being torn apart. You start walking on eggshells to avoid all his like major reactions. Your children, this one is the most painful for me. They learn dysfunctional patterns, okay? They're seeing. And I want to say, I don't care if your child is 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 kids. Our eldest are mid to late 20s. I have 7 grandbabies, okay? I'm married quite a while. This is one of the saddest things because kids are taking notes. They're taking notes. They're not going to tell you, I see this. They're just watching and going, that's how you act when you're angry. That's when somebody does this to you. You do nothing. You scream. Like they're just... And then that's how they're going to treat their spouses. So we're talking generational healing here. It's really important to put a finger on this. And lastly, when he doesn't have emotional maturity, you're just going to lose yourself emotionally. It's going to be painful. Every day is going to be painful. Marriage is supposed to be happy, guys. It's supposed to be healthy. And you know what? It can be. Because when you do find someone with emotional maturity, whoop, it is a totally different experience. So let's pretend you want to know, like, how do I tell if this guy has emotional maturity or not? What do I do? Let me give you the red and green flags. Let's do it. Red flags, let's do them first. Number 1, he gives you the silent treatment when he's upset. Number 2, he blames others for problems consistently. Next, he can't apologize no matter what, or make an excuse when he apologizes for why he's not really wrong anyway. Next, he dismisses your feelings as overreacting. He avoids difficult conversation. He needs constant validation and praise. And lastly, he has explosive anger or shuts down completely. These are all red flags. Either pre or during marriage? Let's go to the green flags. What's good that we can look for? Give us some hope. He can disagree with you while still respecting you. He can have his own opinion, and he should. He apologized specifically about something he did and then actually attempts to change his behavior and follows through. The follow through part's probably a little bit harder for some, but that would be like a game. He asks questions to understand you. He doesn't just expect that you feel or think a certain way or try to make you do what he wants. He's curious. He takes responsibility in his part of the conflict. He's like, can own whatever part he did. He can comfort you when you're upset, even if he caused it. He has healthy relationship with friends and family. So yes, when you do the sit downs, don't just be with him. Ladies, do not sit on phone with men. That is just haram. Anyway, when two are alone, shaitan is the third. But on top of that, if you just meet with him in the family, you don't ever see how he is with his mother, his aunt, his uncle, his cousin, his brother. It's going to be hard to figure that one out. So definitely do that. Last one is he continues to grow. And it doesn't mean he's taking a self-help class. That's really unrealistic. Guys don't typically do those. They're like focus on like career work and stuff like that. But it could be even just learning Quran or doing something to better himself. Now, if he doesn't have all these green flags, this is not like a list of all the things he must have. These are just some things you can look for. And all the red flags, it doesn't matter. These are just things that are tip-offs, okay? So to figure these out, here's what you're doing. Here's how to assess. Watch how he handles stress and disappointment. Notice how he talks about ex relationships. And I don't mean like maybe love, I just like any kind of friend he's written off or something like that, family member who he no longer talks to, whatever. Is it drama filled or is it peaceful? I want you to test his response when you express a concern. See what he does. Test him out. Watch his body language, his behavior, his instant gut. Like, is he going to go angry and then hide it that he's not angry? You know what I mean? And see if he can validate your feelings when you feel he doesn't understand them and you've expressed that. I hope this has been helpful. If you are loving our tips and are like, oh my gosh, give me more, right? Alhamdulillah. No, we love this. We do this all day. It's really important that we help this next generation. We have healthy, beautiful families. You absolutely can have one. The difference is you just have to know how to do this, all right? If it sounds good and you want to know like, what's my next step? How can I get on getting married this year? So we have a compatibility bundle below. It's our most famous, most popular thing. And if you want to fast track your marriage, you can always do the 20-minute link below. Now, I've mentioned this before. If you are a married sister and you're like, I am not trying to get married. I just have marriage things I need to talk to you about. Cool. We have a website, www.mindful-muslimah.com. If you go to the menu, there's a little consultation thing. Boom. Get one. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. Just as said in a previous podcast, please don't book a long story in 15 minutes. I will not humanly be able to listen to you and respond. It's just not a reasonable amount of time. 30 minutes, an hour for those. Definitely excited to talk to you. All right, catch you in the next podcast, ladies. But keep these in mind. Don't forget to save this. And inshallah ta'ala, I'll connect with you in the next podcast. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.